All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Lavicast. I'm your host, Lavi Ray, and I'm here with my two fellow co-hosts, DerpADuh and Ianwaffles. How you guys doing today?
Really good. You?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Waffles.
Doing well. Thanks for having me once again to talk about Sonic's grand adventure.
Oh yes, the grandest of them all. This is the final horizon. So, for those of you guys who might not be in the know, Sonic Frontiers just dropped its last DLC pack, where we get to not only get more addition to the story, but we get to play as Tails, Amy, and Knuckles, and get to see them help Sonic as they end up defeating the greatest villain that they've ever come across, the Moon. And we're
Indeed.
going to talk about it a little bit. So, um, you know what? Why don't I hand it? So, you guys got to play it. How did you guys enjoy it?
I thought it was really good. JK, it was awful. I hated it. Waffles?
Not a fan, sir.
All right, so let's have a little bit of fun this time, and instead of going into story, let's just get into the meat of this and just talk about the gameplay. So, this one starts out with them trying to come up with a reason to say, "Hey, Sonic, I know you've been doing this, and we already have an ending where you basically just wrapped up everything, but we need to pretend like these three actually have something to do. So why don't you go ahead and sit to the side, and we'll go in and bullshit away for you to get a power up, while these three go around and collect the Chaos Emeralds this time." So in this case, we end up seeing his three friends walking around as digital ghosts walking around, but they're still able to interact with their environment for the most part and getting around to play with everything. So did you guys not enjoy playing the characters? Like, what was so bad? Like, we've been begging you to play as these three for years. What's so bad about them? Shouldn't we be happy that we just get a chance to play as them for once?
I'll let you lead, Derp.
Well, it all starts with the fact that you have to unlock the basic fundamentals of gameplay.
Like Knuckles being able to punch or Amy
Yes.
being able to swing a hammer, even though when they start you as Amy, they put you right directly in front of a challenge, which normal game design would tell you, hey, go complete that challenge so you can try out one of Amy's new abilities that we gave her. But no, they don't. And they also don't tell you that she has abilities that you need to unlock. So what I spent most of my time doing was going, oh, when am I going to get abilities? And so I just ran over to the Emerald. And in which case, the way the game is structured is that you run over to an Emerald and it says, they ain't anything here. Oops. And then Amy goes, well, that's really useful. And then she goes and talks to a Coco. And the Coco goes, hey, I don't know nothing. She goes, thank you. And then you go to another shrine and it's like, wow, there's still fucking nothing here. Or there's like a force field. Knuckles, you want to try? And then you do that at infinitum for all the characters. And the only way you're going to know that they have any like special abilities or like any of that stuff is you have to like finagle around with them. And then when you do see that they have abilities, your brain goes, oh, okay. So this is like Sonic Frontiers, right? I'm going to explore the islands and do the gameplay loop where I get like tokens or I get medals or I collect Coco. And that way I can unlock skills and it feels fulfilling. But no, because this is a mod, effectively, they just put Coco out there that you talk to and they go, here, have it free experience points. Fuck you. And then you just get things that you should already have. So it's a mess. It's terrible.
And
But,
it's even worse when you start off, because at least with the last map, by this point, you would have it completely uncovered, assuming you were to go out of your way to do that, like I did. So going into this map, the first thing I would do is, hey, I just found this random Coco, and it gave me XP. Where are the other ones so I can rank up my characters? Oh, you tell me I have to uncover the entire map again? Oh, yay! Fun!
right. Well, and another thing is that, so let's say you do get all the abilities, because one of the abilities is, the ability to like fly with the tornado, or Knuckles gets like infinite gliding or whatever he gets. Amy gets like her little scooter, her tarot card scooter. And you might think, okay, well, once you have those, it's fun, right? Wrong, because once you get Tails' tornado, you can just skip the game, so you're not interacting with the game in the way like it wants you to interact with the challenges. Same with Knuckles. And then as far as Amy's concerned, yeah, you have a little more mobility. So, okay, with Amy, we can at least interact with the environment. Here's the problem. This level design is atrocious. And I think more than that, besides like just how like ugly or just how like jank it all is, because all your moves are so. For example, Knuckles, his glide is so hard to control. He has a wind up for every time you go into it, so you can't just like keep your momentum or keep your flow state going. Same with Tails, he always has like the set height pattern. He has this wind up animation. That's again why Amy is probably the best, because everything kind of flows into each other. But regardless of that, this game I think might be the ugliest looking 3D Sonic game art direction wise, because holy shit, the pop-in. This is supposed to be a lush, beautiful island, and they just fucking put Mario Maker blocks everywhere that are not only there, but they're popping in every second you move. So
it was already bad. Now it's even worse.
Yeah, so any amount of atmosphere or vibe or anything, or just even if the gameplay was fun, is ruined by the fact that this game looks hideous. It looks horrendous. So to me,
Absolutely.
on every front, the gameplay is atrocious. So go ahead, Derp.
Yeah, no, like the pop-in is completely horrendous. Even I saw on Twitter, like an hour after I started to play the DLC, in a group chat with the guys, that not just me, but another person did the exact same thing, where after jumping off a tower, you could head off east side, no, west side, I don't know, west side, and you could hit the exact same map Coco to reveal, the map. And at first you're like, oh, it's in this general area, I'll just land on top of it. And as you get closer, you'll realize, wait, there's no platform, but it says it's here. And the lower you get, then it just pops in. And it's just, it's that. The whole game is just that. And it's even worse now, because you have to go out of your way now. You have to go high, you have to go low, you have to go to these far off corners of the map to find all of these map Cocos and the experience Cocos. It's atrocious. The fact that this is not only on PlayStation 5 and it still has these,
and yet it has the pop-in of a Nintendo 64 game.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, I don't know how someone could look at this and think, yeah, this is okay, let's ship this.
Well, even if the gameplay was fun, I just, like, I don't know about you guys, but I generally, when I play games, use my eyeballs. And I generally like to see things in front of me that look pleasing, or have, like, art direction to it. And the art direction of this game is not only terrible, because none of it matches and none of it has any, like reason to be that way. They try to give you a reason, where if you talk to Sage, Sonic's like, hey, what's with all the shitty looking rails that look awful? And she's like, oh, you see rails? Well, actually, that's just what you're seeing. See, the game looks bad, Sonic, because you just have shitty thought processes about how things should look. You know how in other games we would use like the environment to make rails, or we'd use the environment to make platforms? You just have a really dumb brain, Sonic, so that's why you see shitty looking colored rails. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you, bro. And I go, oh, thank you, game. Thank you for explaining your shitty game design, that you couldn't be bothered to change a texture to look like it fits in the map.
And what makes this funny, is that north side of the map, you can talk to Eggman with Sonic, and Eggman will tell Sonic, oh, in ancient times, the ancients used dash panels that you saw on the other island to traverse around the continent.
Yeah.
So what? You telling me the dash panels that Sonic's seeing aren't in his head? They're all real?
Well, those are real, but the rails are not real. But the multicolored blocks that have Knuckles pads on them are real, but blah, 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 blah.
Which is even dumber when you remember, like, the ancients are supposed to be like these giant 9-foot tall water beings. What the fuck do they gain from you using dash panels?
Indeed. Now, what someone might say is, well, obviously there's a bit of a ludonarrative dissonance between obviously what's in the game and then what's in the story, and sometimes you just kind of accept that. For example, if you're playing like a fucking Kingdom Hearts, there's these little chests everywhere. Why are the chests there in the Disney World? Well, so you can get an item. That makes sense. Yeah, but usually, or just even having a health bar, right? Like that's not a part of the world. So there's a little disconnect. But usually, what they'll do when you have that kind of thing is that there will be a connective tissue of the visual aesthetic, or maybe it'll just be an idea of like stylishly it looks really well, or all these things. But no, everything is popping in, nothing connects. And even if there were things that didn't fit, like let's say the dash panels or whatever, there's nothing else in the game that fits the ancients. So
they can't even be consistent. they can't even be consistent with their own color blocks. Like, for instance, the game will telegraph if a segment is for Chihaya, Tails, or Knuckles. um, Amy's is pink, of course. Tails is yellow, of course, and Knuckles is red, also, of course.
Mhm.
However, all of the blocks you break in this game are pink colored, so it's really jarring when I head in a Tails segment. Then I'm faced with a wall of pink, and I'm like, is this for Amy's now, or is this still Tails' segment?
Yeah. It
And
also becomes confusing when Amy and Knuckles have a homing attack, and Tails, who you might not have unlocked his wrench, you see a homing attack, and you go, "Oh, I need to homing attack," and then you fall to your fucking death because the game doesn't realize that you don't have anything to use the homing reticle for, and they don't change it to match the fact that it would be a weapon. So
and the
you,
hip and
yeah,
and
so
the and when you like try to do precise platform with Tails without the the additional factors, his hitbox is so small that trying to hit things like
yeah,
springs and boosts and the grabby lever things that take you up into the sky, I'm blanking. The swings, I don't
yeah,
know.
the pulleys or
Um
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, like all of that is really hard to grab for whatever reason.
Yeah, so it doesn't even do its job.
Yeah, you can really tell that the game was not designed around these characters. Forgetting like the fact that Tails can just cheat over the whole map, do an infinite boost, and then just fly up into the sky and grab all of the map cocos. like just on the ground floor, Tails is already like not great to play in platforming.
Mm-hmm. Now, so then I'll go to the last saving grace that could be, which is that,
Mhm.
all right, so, let's say you don't enjoy the level design, which is a pretty big deal, but sometimes it is just fun to control a character. If the character controls well, it might not obviously save the game, but I could maybe come away being like, oh wow, but just like running around with the character or kind of flinging myself all over, that had some enjoyment to it that I hope maybe they can build on. That's how I felt about Sonic once they had Update 2, where they actually gave him deceleration to his jumps, so you actually had momentum. You could boost off of a thing and then just go fucking flying across like the
100%.
stratosphere.
Mhm.
Yeah,
100%.
and it felt so fun to just mess around in the islands. And generally, once Update 2 came out, it made the whole game better for me because it was so fun to be like, can I skip this section? And then I realized, oh, I could, and it like actually accounted for it. Or here's this little, but that doesn't make the game then like there's nothing to do, because then I go, well, okay, I still need to get those tokens. I still need to get those memory whatevers. So now what are some different creative ways I can use to get there by having this new moveset? It was great. And so just even playing as Sonic, I think after the Update 2, I was like, oh, wow, like I'm actually having fun with this.
Yeah,
So
can I can
yeah,
I
go ahead.
tell you something about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, when so like you both know that when Frontiers dropped, I was very like melancholic about it, mostly negative.
Mhm.
But as the updates came out, I decided, okay, I'll grab the music notes because I want to kind of complete the game as much as I can. And then when update 2 came around, I heard about them adjusting the mechanics. Like you get new options in the menu to toggle whether you wanted certain things to be a bit more loose or a bit more stiff. And I was blown away by how much of a difference those changes made. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. After like switching all of the things to make the momentum more fun, I kind of cried a bit. And those were tears of joy because, like, for the first time in so
It's
many
fun.
years, Sonic was actually fun to play. And
Yeah.
I genuinely, for a while, I'm not joking, for a while I just kind of forgot about the music notes because I was just having so much fun, just wee whoa, just shooting all over the place, like flying over rocks, like it was possible before, but now it was like a mechanic, not an
Yeah, now
accidental
I could
like
do it on
thing.
purpose.
Yeah, now you could do it on purpose, and it was amazing. It was game changing. I genuinely did have tears of joy. Like, wow, this game's great now.
Yeah.
At least on a fun level.
Yeah.
And I went out of my way to grab all of those pointless cocos that give you a boost gauge upgrade. Oh.
Yeah, because then you can move as long as you want. So okay. So all that said, are these characters just intrinsically fun to play? Answer is no. They're fucking terrible. They're all super sluggish. Amy is the only one who has any kind of flow state where like all her moves kind of power into each other. Knuckles is just horrendous to fly with. He just drops like a rock. Like,
Yeah,
again,
I will.
when I said
I
I
will
wanted to play Knuckles again, I didn't mean Sonic 06 Knuckles.
I don't know. I think 06 Knuckles is better than
He drops like a rock, man. It's
he
awful.
does, but at least you don't have to have wind up. I'll take the fall.
Oh
if it
yeah.
means I
No,
don't-
that's fair. Yeah, he doesn't have the wind up. That's true.
The wind up is annoying. It aggravates me. I'm just like, get on with it.
Yeah, and it's not useful for like course correcting yourself because you could already do that in SA2. Because if you were gliding, you could make a full 360 in one spot because the game wasn't so stiff with what you were doing. So this isn't even a case of like, well, how would it even work? How it would work is that 20 years ago you already did it. So
yeah, you have to manually steer, and it's the most annoying thing because it takes a full like half a minute to get around.
Yeah, and then of course he can't grab onto every surface now, which makes sense, but that also just means he's less fun. Same with Tails. He has this little wind up, and it's not like a gradual build. It's that he does the little wind up, and then he just goes boom, and he's up at he's as high as he can go. And he's just not fun to control. And again, the game just looks hideous. So there's not even like a feeling of like, oh wow, I'm really like flying over these little areas. And sure, there's like some rails here and there, but like, oh man, can I get to that one or that one? It's like, no, it's just fucking block.
And I will say at the start when you start off with these characters, it is insufferable because you have to unlock the basic fundamentals of the gameplay, the punches, the like basic like parry and stuff, the side loop. But once you start to
don't
get
know.
But hey. On the plus side, you get to throw tarot cards.
It's true. You do get to float with tarot cards.
No, I don't want to play as Chihaya from Persona 5.
But
yeah, once you get those basic fundamentals and you start to get the fun abilities like the fly-in, the faster glide, all that stuff, the witch broom thing with Amy, it starts to become, dare say, a little bit more fun. And in some cases by unintention, like Knuckles, if you like boost with him, I don't know if it's a programming error or it was intentional, but like if you boost with Knuckles, they'll just say woohoo, woohoo, woohoo.
Yeah,
which is very endearing. I don't think that was intentional. And also, he's Boom Knuckles now. He has the infinite jump, which was not intentional at all. But at least it makes him slightly more better to play.
Yeah, so
that verticality.
Yeah, go ahead, Love.
Oh yeah, no, but unfortunately, he doesn't get the forever parry.
Shit rock, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe they removed it.
But yeah, no, I mean, and then also they all suck in combat because they're like level 1, and also they're very sluggish, they're very slow. And yeah, so I mean, I really don't have too much to say about the gameplay just because, or as far as like the new characters, because I really do just think it's self-explanatory that they're stiff. The world design is awful to look at in both playthrough, and all of their moves are half-baked or completely underbaked, and the only time it's fun to play as them is when you get their moves that literally break the game. So, and again, not in a fun way like Sonic, where you actually have to maneuver with your momentum. No, if you're Tails, you just fly over to where you want to go, you're done. If you're Knuckles, fly over where you want to go, you're done. So, I genuinely really disliked playing all of these characters. So
yeah, I believe it's very clear that these characters weren't programmed for like a fun callback. I believe they were programmed in as a tech demo. For
this is all one giant free beta test, and
that's what I was gonna get to. Like, I like every element of this game, both in terms of like the gameplay, the mechanics, the fucking location, and especially the fucking script. All this is just a tech demo and just a way to say to fans, hey guys, see, we're not completely incompetent. We'll make a good game next time, but you see, there's promise that it'll be better. And it just makes this a complete fucking slog to get through across the board. I was gonna have a sarcastic point about this, but I'm like, yeah, but almost every element of this is just a fucking slog. Like hell, like even the boss rush when it comes to Sonic.
Yeah, that comes after all of the bullshit with the towers.
Yeah. So real quick, let's jump to Sonic's gameplay because I really feel like that's where the game really falls apart. so if you want to lead,
Derp. Okay, no, let's go.
The towers, man. I'll be honest. I did not enjoy the towers, but compared to what came after climbing them, I think they were at least kind of merciful.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to the trials, oh god, give me 10 more towers if it meant not doing another trial.
Yeah, so basically what happens is that you have to climb these different towers, and at the top are challenges. The towers themselves have no checkpoints. In the original game, when you got to a certain height, they would drop down a pulley if you fell all the way down, and you could start where you last left off. This does not have that. And these challenges a lot of them are based either around the momentum that was not obviously designed for this game. It was for you to abuse, not do precision platforming. And so you're constantly flying off these fucking towers and having to climb all the way back up. And a lot of the times, this is one I see a lot, is that especially for newcomers, when you get to the top, they will launch you over this spinning propeller that's going over the tower. And a lot of people don't consider that that's probably intangible. So they try to land on it, and then they fall to their deaths, or they fall to the very bottom and they have to start again, which is just horrendous character or like level design. That is not clear, or that is not, that it launches you that high,
Yeah.
So that's awful. And then a lot of it is just like, it's the kind of level it's the kind of level design that could have been fun, if they had these checkpoints, but because it's just so merciless, then it's not fun, because then you get that momentum of like, okay, I'm going. And instead of like losing a life and having a checkpoint or anything like that, or having like this, this feeling of like, okay, I can get it this time, it just drains you every time you fall. And a lot of time it's due to no fault of your own, because the characters Sonic is so slippery. So if you want to survive those towers, do easy mode, because it just gives you a trail of balloons to climb to the top. Otherwise, like, you're fucked.
But then once you get to the top,
that's when the real games begins. And so all of these are action challenges, and they all set you back to level 1. All your attacks do horrible damage. And to give you an idea of like how badly designed they are, the only way to like reliably beat them, other than being like a speed runner, like a master of the game. And a reminder, this is like for kids to play, and adults are having problems with this. What you're supposed to do for many of these challenges is just abuse certain gameplay systems. So for the bosses, you have to fight every single one of the bosses with 400 rings, and you can never gain any more. And you also have to reclimb all of them, and you have to do this all in a row. So
you can also, before you even get to the boss, take damage.
Take damage, and some of those hits take like 100 rings. So you're fucked, like instantly, you're done. So the way you're supposed to do it, obviously, like you would think, is like, oh, I got to be really good at these fights. But because the time limit is like the time limit of the 400 rings is so egregious that people have realized, oh, how you do this is you hit, stomp, hit, stomp, hit, stomp. That is the most, and then like you do all their little, special moves, attacks. And that's the most reliable way to actually beat this. And similarly, there's the first challenge where the most reliable way is just block, parry, block, counterattack, block, counterattack. Or the second one, especially, where you have 2 minutes to beat these little guys with shields. You knock the shield up. You have like 1 second and maybe and a half to hit this guy before the shield lands on him again. And the only reliable way people have figured out how to do this is you knock it into the air, you hit him, and then you parry, hit him again, and you just do chip damage over and over and over and over until you get all the enemies. There's a few other strategies people have shown of like you hit him twice and then you boost, and then that like allows you to kind of like glitch through and get the point being, the way you beat these is not like a gameplay mechanic. It's like a hacker. It's like it's like
you have to abuse the mechanics and squeeze through.
And it's not fun or visually satisfying. So they're horrible. And a lot of people can't do them. They're too hard, and I understand.
When I got to trial 1, I was so let me give you context. I was sat there like the hour this update dropped, and I kind of went in it with excitement, like, oh, okay, I can't wait to see how the characters play and all that stuff. And once I got to this trial, I just went cold, like quiet and cold in like the Discord room with Lav, as I like started to get slowly more frustrated as it went on. And when I barely made it out on the other side, I just said to Lav, like, don't do it. You're not going to enjoy this at all. Don't watch a YouTube video.
I actually physically got a headache from doing it. Like, and
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I was like, no, wait a minute. And it just sat in that,
and
this is bad.
Yeah.
And it only got worse for me because by the time I got to the second trial, and I literally I had to go to Twitter and find out like how are people getting past this part. And I saw a bunch of people also struggling. But once I finally figured out, oh yeah, you gotta like do the side loop, and then you gotta punch and kick, and then you gotta do that like 20 times, and you gotta make sure you have like 30 seconds left, or else you're screwed. Once I finally did that asinine task, I just said it again, like, Lav, don't do this. Watch a YouTube video of the cutscenes.
Yeah, so I ended up watching DerpADuh playing this like on the release date because for some reason, even though America is the center of the universe, it went to the release came out in every other country before it came to us.
Yeah.
So when I ended up watching Derp play it, and oh god, that looked so miserable. Especially when you end up getting to like the second boss.
I'm so happy you guys were playing One Piece in that server, because if I didn't have anything to distract myself for 5 minutes just to get myself into a good mood, I think I would have just gone into a full rage mode.
Well, and then that's not even including that you have the final boss, which the way you're supposed to beat it is by using a technique that the game doesn't teach you.
Oh god!
Which is that you have to hit this one chord or whatever, and you can't just hit it. Like you can't just go up and hit it. Like it won't lock on. No, you have to use a skill where you toggle the lock on, which the game like teaches you probably very early on, which you're never going to use because anytime you fight a mob of enemies, the only thing you would do is just hit them 3 times, jump to the next guy, hit them 3 times. So you've either forgotten about it or you just don't even know it exists.
I forgot it exists.
Yeah, I forgot. I didn't know it exists. So this is happening. And even if you did, like again, it's not usable. So then you're gonna get here and just gonna be like, what the fuck? What's happening? Why can't I hit it?
But even if you did remember the switching enemy system, why would you know that finally after not being used
why would it be used
on one boss? Why would you think, oh, I need to use this switch enemy system on the limbs of the boss? A thing that's never been done before in the game.
Yes, but here's something incredible that you two might not know this. So, when you get 100% in the game, like you collect everything, you get the stupid little crown on your head. But when you 100% the DLC, do you know what your reward is?
What?
Another cosmetic?
No. Before you fight the boss, the king will say, "Hey, you can get some guides, and one of the guides is for the boss. It tells you how to beat the boss. It tells you about that mechanic." So this is not a joke. Your reward, I've seen it. Your reward for 100%ing the game is that it will teach you how to fight the final boss.
You're shitting me.
Optionally.
You're shitting me.
Like it's not even like you get in the fight and then like a thing will appear. No, you have to go out of your way to be like, did I get any fucking thing for beating the game? And then you go, hey, you know that final boss you almost certainly already fought? Did you know that if you do this move, you can beat it and win the game?
Waffles, is this not like a prank?
This is not a prank, bro.
Oh my god.
This is what Sonic Team wants for your life. They fucking hate you.
What? Who? What?
Why?
I'm just glad I didn't bother 100% in the DLC now. Because that was the plan. I was gonna do this elaborate scheme, right? So I after trial 2 in the server, I just told Lav like, yeah, don't do this. I'm giving up now. I'm gonna go bed with you. I'm gonna go bed. I might play this tomorrow, and I just decided to pick it up. And my plan, right? It was very elaborate. I was gonna like 100% the game and be like, ooh, you made me read IDW and I do all of this for you guys. And then I just like played more of the DLC, and I'm like, I can't do this. This is awful. I 100% for the crown, but this? No.
Yeah.
I tried to play those cyberspace levels. I only managed to beat one of them, and I didn't even complete it with the cocos you earn. I just barely managed to beat one level. It was ridiculous. And the reward is a guy?
Yeah.
All right.
Why?
I want to throw this in here real quick because I've seen a couple of people defend the bullshit gameplay mechanics with this game, like just going like, "Oh, that's just a skill issue. You need to get better at it."
Fuck
them.
Like,
you don't. Yeah. 1, fuck them. 2, this isn't even about this being for kids. There's a particular point of like, games at the end of the day should be fun. That's like the first priority. Even if they are difficult, it should be fun when it comes to beating the thing. But nothing about how you beat the bosses, how you end up dealing with the 3 new characters, any of this shit is fun. You have to basically just go around hacking around certain things, deal with really sluggish gameplay mechanics, deal with basically the game hiding guides from you in order to be able to take stuff down, which at the end of the day, you should be playing a game for the sake of it being fun, not just for the sake of just saying, I survived dealing with this bullshit, which I don't think any fan base would ever no other fan base would ever tolerate. And I don't think we should start just because we are just like so, because so many fans are like, this is the only franchise I ever pay attention to, and I will never watch or go into anything else. Like, seriously, I saw that post pop up yesterday where someone was trying to defend the idea of only playing Sonic games, which
like I don't mind
No.
a challenge in games. In
Right.
fact, I support it. I think that's part of what I liked about Frontiers when it dropped, is that compared to Forces, it felt like an actual game where I had to actually pay attention. Like, oh, jump here. Oh, wait, I can do better next time. Like,
Right.
there was a lot of room for error and a lot of room for improvement in terms of my own skill. And then this update comes out. And it's like, hey, I hope you spent the last 7 months like practicing the mechanics, because now it's raid mode.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, yeah, at the end of the day, it makes zero sense to say it's a skill issue thing when it's not about being good, it's about being fucking lucky.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
and again,
yeah, absolutely.
if the skill I need to learn is to be a speedrunner, I'm sorry, that's not how the game should be designed. And even if I was to learn speedrunning strats, like with the bosses, then that should be fun. Like, that should be a fun experience to get good, is ultimately like the point. And it's not
Right.
fun it's not fun because you're not getting good. You're just abusing the system, and then you win. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they even consider things like using the slimy boost, the boost attack, the homing boost attack. They consider that and the spin dash in the cyberspace levels to be cheating, because you get like ranked if you beat a cyberspace level, and if you use certain tactics that they have coded into the game, they will call you out. So like they consider things like that as cheating, which is fucking scummy. Oh.
Yeah. So I mean, otherwise, I don't really have anything else to say about the gameplay. I think it's awful, and I did not have a good time at all.
No, for me, it genuinely felt like a chore to do most of the things you have to do to rank up the characters, and like the fact you have to completely get the map back, despite the fact that like Sonic just ran through here. It would be one thing if it was Tails, Amy, and Knuckles, like whatever. But the fact that Sonic himself, like, oh geez, I forgot the map. It's all because of padding. I have a very strong theory, and I don't think this is too far fetched to think about, is that the reason why a lot of the things you have to do in this are basically redoing things you already did, and the difficulty curve, spike, is all because they needed to pad out a very short content update. And it makes sense, because I think if this wasn't just raid tier a difficult, you could easily beat this in between maybe like 1 to 2 hours. I do believe that. But the fact that like everything's so like, you gotta do all the map again. You gotta unlock the basic fundamentals of gameplay with punches and side loops. You gotta do all the map stuff. You gotta get through the towers, which are now stupid hard. I really do believe it's all because of padding, just so they can make sure, like, no, it's longer than you think it is. That kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Which is annoying, because it's all artificial, like, difficulty that doesn't feel earned, from me at least.
Yeah. All right. Well, do we want to move on to the story?
Yeah, let's talk about that story. So I do believe Flynn. So I know that Flynn is credited as writing for this, but just to be clear, did he write the whole story, or was this a script, or was he just like on the English translation again?
I think it's a 3-man job between Mario Kishimoto. I am sorry to the other guy who's there, and also Ian Flynn. There's like 3 people.
Yeah. So I was looking into this more. So we do know for the base game, because he had a few more Bumblecast interviews where someone asked him, like, basically he has said that these are his words. They said that like Sega provided with the idea of like the Titans and like Eggman and Sage, like those kind of basic like they need to be in the game. And then he said he kind of filled in the blanks, which that part is more vague, where we don't really know like did he come up with their relationship? Did he come up with or did he just do dialogue to fill out that concept? We know certain things were cut, certain ideas he had that they just didn't make in the final game. And then we do know, this is the kind of most important thing I think for this video, is that we know for certain that he was pretty much entirely in charge of the Knuckles, Amy, and Tails story arcs that played out in that game. Like he came up with that idea and pitched that, and he was in charge of kind of like coming up with what they said and did in those islands. With the greatest part being that, so one of the big things that people were talking about is like, oh man, this must be part of Sega's big master plan to like make like a Sonic Adventure 3 where Amy and Knuckles and Tails are going to go off and do their own thing, or maybe there's going to be a comic spin-off where we're going to explore these sides of the characters, or maybe in the next game, or maybe we'll get a Tails game, I don't know. And Flynn literally flat out confirms, he says that, so I put those in the game, and I hope whoever, I hope someone at Sega takes those ideas and does something with them. So there is no fucking plan. There is no sort of like overarching story. He just put it in there as like a bait for Sega to hopefully do something with. So y'all got fucked.
Well, that's just great.
Yeah. All right.
So we can go into this. So as far as like the basic construction, it seems like Kishimoto, the other guy, and Flynn came up with the ideas. Flynn did the dialogue. That's all, and which is obvious just by hearing anything they said. And then Kishimoto then translates his dialogue and alters it for Japanese, which we know for certain. So
right.
Yeah, I know. I don't expect Sega to ever say, "Let's do it, Hooba Dooba."
Yes.
All right. The reason I was asking is because I think I've gotten a bit of a reputation of being a Flynn hater, and for the record,
Wait, you're not?
No, I do not hate. I do not hate. I just want that on record. Like, I don't hate him. Like, I don't get, and I wanted to make that explicitly clear here because I want to try to say like everything I want to say about the script for this game. This is not me just going, I want to hate on Flynn. I would love to be able to say he is the greatest writer to ever fucking exist. Like, I don't gain anything from ripping into him. I'd rather him just be fantastic. And this is my long way of saying, God, this script was really fucking drab and dreary and incredibly hollow. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to put too much focus on Flynn on this because this is still Kishimoto and Junpei Otsu's script as well. So all three of them deserve responsibility for this. But I wanted to point this out because this has the same problem I've been saying about Flynn since, I would kind of argue since Reboot, but definitely with IDW, that he likes to do drama. He wants to be serious, but he doesn't have anything thematically to say. So when it comes to the game in particular, but especially Final Horizon, it wants to be edgy. It wants to be grimdark, but it doesn't have anything to say with it other than just going, Sonic did stuff for us, so we have to do things for him. And I'm like,
you didn't like it when we went through the same cutscene with the 3 different characters where they get corruption cooties and they say, Sonic went through this 5 times already. I could do it also. You didn't like that?
The worst part is that's not where the parallels end. Like when it comes to the boss rushes, I don't know how intentional it was, but it seemed like they were also trying to do a parallel with at least the first 4. With the main cast, with like the first one being the only girl of the group who's like, no, I'm here to try to defend everyone that I love and care for, and I care more for everyone else than anyone else. And then the second was like, I'm the strongest fighter to ever exist. The third was like, I developed all the technology here. And the fourth one is also meant to be like the cocky hero lead. And I'm like, okay, I get, congratulations, you made a parallel with these guys with the main cast. So fucking what? Like, why do we need this here? And that's where... Huh?
No, go ahead. You can finish.
Yeah. And that's where my consistent problem with a lot of the stuff is, where it's like they're trying to do all this dramatic shit with like Tails being like, I need to show like this, I can stand on my own. And Knuckles is like, I need to, like, I'm not going to let Sonic one-up me. And Amy's like, I must share my love with everything. And tarot cards. I have tarot cards now. And I'm like, why? What do we need this for? Like, I want to focus on the tarot card thing in particular because that bothers me more than anything else. I don't have a problem with Amy having tarot cards as a hobby. That totally fine, whatever. But that should not be the thing that comes up. The only thing that comes up as a replacement for her crush with Sonic, because that's honestly even more shallow. Because at least with her over the top crush on Sonic, that gave me at least some idea about what she values, what she's going for, and gives her some type of comedy to work with. What do
Yeah, I
we
was gonna say it at least has like comedy potential.
Yeah. What do you get with the tarot cards?
Well, yeah. So the funny thing about the tarot cards, for people who don't know, so the whole idea with Amy in Sonic CD is that like young girls, there's like a kind of a thing with like young girls in Japan, at least like at the time, and it's like a stereotype, is that they will get into like occult things like tarot cards or like palm reading, you know, these types of things. So the whole idea of Amy, and why like in the manual it says like she has these tarot cards and they told her she would go on a grand adventure, is that in real life, unless you believe in it, the tarot cards, you know, don't do shit. You know, it's all for fun. You know, it's all that kind of stuff. So you have Amy, who is supposed to be a normal girl, who has these tarot cards that tell her she's going to go on this grand adventure. You know, it's all in the manual or whatever. But then that actually happens. Like she ends up on a grand adventure with Sonic, you know, more or less. She gets swept up in his little adventure. And so she's supposed to be a normie. Like that's the idea. She's supposed to be a normal little girl. And what do normal little girls like in Japan? They like tarot cards. They like a little mysticism thing. Only this time it's real. Like, whoa, what if your tarot card rating actually worked and you got sent on this grand adventure? But in the West, it doesn't come across that way. We think of this as like Amy has like these weird magic powers, which the games also lean into, where they give her like invisibility sometimes for no reason. We don't know where her fucking hammer came from when it starts kind of like poofing into existence, all these different things, at least in the games. So you have all this kind of tie to magic. And so then they've just kind of boiled that down to like, okay, Amy uses tarot cards. She likes tarot cards. But like, and I'm not saying you can't build off that. But what I'm saying is like, it feels like an overcorrection where it's like, yes, now her thing is her tarot cards, which
it's also got to be really jarring to people that don't follow like all of the game wiki lore kind of things.
Yes, it's only in the manual that you would know she had tarot cards.
Like to someone who probably just like played Forces and then jumps to Frontiers is going to be like, wait, why is she like got cards all of a sudden? Like, she doesn't even use the hammer outside of one very inept ability that you only use for collectibles and puzzles.
Well, and again, so this is the thing, right? The whole reason the hammer worked was that the whole idea is that it's the Toph effect from Avatar. You have a cute little girl who's literally like wearing like a little pink dress or whatever, and she's running around. She's a big fangirl, but also she can fucking kick your ass and kill you with a giant mallet. So like that's a fun contrast, right?
Yeah, it's a very fun common trope now. We've even got Pokemon with a pink little gremlin girl with a giant hammer.
Yeah, it's a fun trope that people like. So instead, they gave her the tarot cards, which has no like character ties, because again, it's basically just like it's a thing she does now. And it has like no comedy potential. Like it does if you wanted to lean into like her, like if she was always like wrong with it, maybe that could be funny, and like you did comedy with that, but they don't. They don't use it for comedy. And then it completely ruins one of the basic things of Amy, which is the contrast of little pink girl, normal girl, who has big giant fucking hammer and she's gonna kick your ass and she's really aggressive. That's a fun contrast. So we got rid of that for nothing. So that's why the tarot cards are just weird. And like, here's the thing, I would be fine with them if they were just like the little motorcycle, or she had them for like her little hover abilities, because like I don't know what you would use the hammer for hovering for. So that would be cool. You'd give her kind of like this the hammer side and that side, and maybe you could give her other magical abilities or whatever. Again, like Sonic 06 played with this, gave her invisibility for some reason. So you could have done something with that. But now it's just, she just has tarot cards, and that's just a thing she does. And correct me if I'm wrong, they don't really like help her at all during all this.
No, they don't.
So
yeah, no, they don't.
So yeah, that's just one of those things. And then I would, you guys can go back to Amy if you want, but just to move to Knuckles real quick. Did anyone else feel like not only is he Boom Knuckles in gameplay, but he's kind of Boom Knuckles in story now? Because his whole thing is like, just tell me what to punch, bro. I be punching things all the time. Let me punch and I'll punch. And I'm like, what's happening?
Especially in the side stories. Like I went out of my way to experience like as much as I could, and I read like every side story. And I swear half of the ones with Knuckles are just like, I want to punch stuff. Let me get some punching action going on. And then the only one that stood out as like different was the one where Eggman's like, oh, when this is all over, I'm gonna go snatch that Master Emerald. And then Knuckles is like, hey, no one's gonna get that Master Emerald but me. You better not do anything. It's like, bro, aren't you like planning to leave Angel Island after this?
Well, in the English version, he is. In the Japanese version, his whole thing is just, I need to figure out more about my culture. So,
Oh, that doesn't exist. Other cultures don't exist, love.
oh yeah. I forgot the Sonic fan base is weirdly xenophobic. So
That
no,
being said, also the American cartoons don't exist because we're inconsistent.
yes,
Indeed. So, and then I didn't really notice my. Oh well, I guess Tails' big thing is that they made him Lost World Tails again, where he just
Yes.
bitches.
yes, yeah. Tails is never like that's the thing. Tails must, and I've learned this by talking to a lot of Sonic fans who love saying that I'm wrong about everything. Tails is only allowed to be potential. He is never allowed. His entire story must always be about how he will become a good character, how he will be able to be functional, how he may be able to overcome his insecurities. He's never going to, but as long as we keep showing him like just constantly having to confront the fact of he is potential and only potential, that means he's a good character.
Yeah, Tails makes me sad because I genuinely do feel in the right hands like he could probably be like on par with Eggman in terms of what he could cook up, but because everyone wants to give him the iPad and limit what he builds, he's just always short of like.
No, that's because the writing staff does only want, like, as much as the game is trying to go like, oh yeah, everyone's going to go on their own direction and wants to try to like build off and they're going to start going on their own way and becoming better people. They're not going to, and it's especially going to show Tails that Tails is only there to be Sonic's sidekick and nothing else. They don't want.
I want to be proven wrong. Like a year from now, I would love it if I opened up like IDW comic and I see Tails building a fucking Gundam. Like that would be so awesome. Like
that's not
like,
going to happen. I would love for you, and to be clear, I would love to be wrong about this too. I don't gain anything from this. I would love to see him actually become a proper badass and be able to stand on par with everyone else. I just know it's not going to happen because
not only does the fandom want him to be a baby boy, as much as they disagree, saying like, "Oh no, we want him to mature and be on his own feet." Like everyone wants him to be the little baby soft brother to Sonic. That's what they want him to be, and want him to stay as it. Like you said, the potential. That's all he is, which is a shame.
Which is so funny because the whole game is kind of being like, hey, let's go back to the way we were in Sonic Adventure. Like, let's, redo our arcs or whatever about learning. Tails going to learn that he needs value in himself. Amy's going to learn to be independent, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. We already did good Tails because it's called Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Heroes, where in Sonic Adventure 2, Tails doesn't join Sonic on his adventure because like he's a tag along. No, he's like, oh, my buddy Sonic got fucking arrested. Well, time to nuke an air base, like a military base, and like break in. And he just does it. Like he just comes in, and then he sees like Amy's in trouble. He's like, fucking Amy, all right, I'll step and help you out. And then like you just go along, and Tails is just doing whatever he wants. He is an equal to Sonic in that story, and it's not brought up. It's not like a thing where someone's like, wow, Tails, you've really come along. He just does it. Like the whole point is that he is the parallel to Eggman. Eggman has a walker, Tails has a walker. They have all their boss fights together. Tails comes up with his plan, and then Eggman kind of one-ups him on his plan and all these different things. And then you get to Sonic Heroes, and the whole point of that game is that the teammates and all the missions are equals. You have to switch to each character because each of them is equally important to complete the level. So in Sonic Heroes, that's like kind of the peak of what you would want for Tails, where it's like, Sonic, what are you doing? It's like, I'm gonna go kick Eggman's ass. You want to come? And then they just do. And then and you play, and it's in the gameplay too, where you play the game. And Tails is also one of the most useful characters in that game. And it's the whole point is that they're equals, despite how narcissistic Sonic wants to call them Sonic Heroes. But marketing. So we already have Tails who has found his way. This is already a thing. And it wasn't a thing in the sense that people needed to bring attention to it in the games.
Nope.
They just understood that this was the direction Tails would go in. So it just feels so weird that we've backpedaled this hard, and now we have to make a thing of it that he is going to be better. When again, the old games just made him better. So just do that.
Yeah, and even if you want to try to go with the idea of like, well, all of the other games afterwards kind of regressed him for this, so we need to address it. No, you fucking didn't. All you had to do was just make him a good character because
the games don't address why he's a bad character. He just is.
Yeah. Like when it comes to Unleash, when it comes to Lost World, when it comes to Forces, the best thing to do to like deal with all the bullshit that they deal with them in those games is to just ignore it and just have him become a good character. No one is going to question it. Just as people are trying to say, no, Amy has always been tarot cards and we should never question that. what we should question the idea of like Tails being written to be a good character and just actually being functional on par with everyone else? No, we don't have to question that.
You got
not everything. Huh?
They want you to selectively remember things and selectively forget things, like how Knuckles has a body count in Forces, but that's never touched up upon in this game.
No, we need to treat him like he's like this brave, strong general. Like that's why his tokens were a bunch of war medals, because
Or how about Eggman, literally taking over the world in the last adventure, like literally the last adventure.
Yeah.
And everyone just treats him like he's their grumpy uncle.
Yeah. And that's assuming you don't take IDW into account, where he nearly genocided the Earth.
Yeah.
Twice.
Exactly.
He nearly genocided the Earth twice.
Yeah. So if it's all canon, except for the things that matter to the characters when we don't like it, well, then it just means it's vapid and doesn't mean anything at all. So, right.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate point. So I'm trying to think of anything else for the three.
Like I want to be proven wrong about the Tails thing, but like I'm so cynical and pessimistic at this point that I kind of just doubt that anything will come out of it. But to talk about like one more thing about the characters, I guess two things. But I'll start with Tails and then the other thing. I'm really bummed that Tails didn't really pack heat. Like in the marketing, he has a weapon, and then when we get to the actual game, he just uses a Gary's mod wrench. And the weapon that's in the marketing is just for collectibles and puzzles.
Yeah, this is a similar thing of like I know Lav wants to go on about the wrenches, so I'll let him in a sec. But I was trying to remember, like not to go too off topic, but in Scrapnik Island, like they give him the guns or whatever. But if I remember correctly, isn't like the whole like the kind of like this is what they keep doing with Tails is like, oh, it's like okay, Tails is like gonna go fight or whatever, but then he just gets like immediately dunked on, and then he's just done for the rest of the arc. Yes. So it's like, hey, baby steps, I guess.
Yeah, like I'm happy they put the visual in at bare minimum, but no.
It'd be nice if you did something with it.
Exactly. We need a leap forward, no more baby steps. We need a leap forward now. But
Lav, please rant about the wrenches because I feel
like honestly, all I had to say
it
about it was that it was a really fucking stupid projectile weapon. Like I'm not super wild about the guns, not because they're not cool, because it is. It's just I don't think there's only so much you can get out of them when it comes to like fight mechanics, and I like giving characters weapons where you can do like a bunch of different things with them and have fun with the physics with them. But guns are just like they're a gun, you shoot them, done. So unless you're going to do something weird with projectiles, it's kind of simple. But at least it's better than just having them pull wrenches out of fucking nowhere and just throw them like a goddamn weapon. Like if we're going to try showing that he's supposed to be like technically savvy, maybe the gun would actually be better, or even better, have him use the wrench in a way that's actually meant to be like I'm trying not to go to Unity, but I'm like,
you're a fan fiction.
It's better than just like him just throwing wrenches as like a weird lame game mod. Like, come on, we can do better than that.
Yeah, the only other thing I could think about the character segment is Amy has a line of dialogue where she's like, "I'm no longer gonna be a damsel in distress, Sonic."
Oh god,
literally. So unprompted, you just talk to her and she goes, "By the way, I'm not a damsel in distress anymore. All right."
Okay. So I know this is gonna sound a bit weird.
To gender norms actually reaffirms the status quo.
Okay, here's it. First off, but to build on that, I've had one of the big criticisms I've always had with Flynn's writing is that he loves relying on fan service, and I'm not putting that solely on him. All three of the writers get the credit, get the blame for that. But I've had people try to question me like, why is that a bad thing? Isn't it good to have fan service? This is the reason why, because it's not here to actually tell one coherent story trying to explore particular ideas. It's just about throwing cookies and bait to your fans in order to appease them without actually having anything coherent or substantive behind it. Like, and the whole
jangling the keys
and her going like, I'm not going to be a damsel in distress anymore is a good example of that, because there's no reason for her to say that. In universe, she's never been captured. She hasn't been captured as much. Hell, I'm pretty sure Sonic's been captured more times than she has. That's never been an issue for the character.
Like Amy got captured in CD and Riders, although for Riders it was played up for like comedy.
It was like a joke. Yeah.
And Sonic
got captured.
Sonic got captured sooner than Amy did in Forces. Like that's like the last time someone got captured was Forces, and Sonic got captured there.
Yep.
Tails in Lost World, although really he was he kind of had his own mind, like he was in on the inside, knowing what he was
Yeah.
doing.
But my point
yeah.
about Amy was the only reason to put that in there is to reaffirm people like, yeah, she's not going to be that stereotype, that gender stereotype that people complain about her like crushing on Sonic all the time and just being like very stereotypical, insulting depiction of a female character. But I'm like, I'd rather have that because that's at least you can make that funny if you know what you're doing. Like the best examples of this are Toru from Kobayashi's Maid Dragon, and you haven't gotten here yet, Derp, but Boa Hancock from One Piece. Both these characters are down bad for the protagonist of their story, especially Boa. But they work because one, unlike Amy, they're not shown to constantly be abusive to the person that they're affectionate towards. And in particular, they're just so over the top and so ride and die, and especially murderous, that it ends up becoming endearing. And you just get that they end up becoming endearing and likable in the process. Like Boa Hancock has not been in One Piece as like a main character for well over a decade, but she is still in the top 10 most popular characters of the story to this day. Mainly and I would honestly attribute that a good chunk of it to just how much she's just dedicated to her crush for the main character. But here, instead of like actually trying to have the crush be fun and just like try to do something interesting with it, they just downplay it to the point of she only gets like blushy and maybe like wide eye around Sonic sometimes, and then that's it. Where I'm like, okay, what is her character now? Her character is girl. And I'm like,
this
is
girl.
Worse. This is actually worse.
Yeah, like, for sure.
Like, I don't know if this was intentional or not. I'm kind of doubting it. It's a toss-up. But there's like one side story with Amy where if you talk to Sage, Sage says something like, "Oh, it's the girl who admires Sonic," and then Amy says,
"Not love." But
Then Amy says, "It's like, ooh, do you admire him also?" and then she's like, this is not the time for this. Move on to the mission. And again, it's a toss up, but assuming they were playing into the whole like girlfriend thing, like, oh, he's mine, you haven't any ideas. I find that funny, and I also equally find it endearing and adorable that Sage could hypothetically have a crush on Sonic from a singular interaction.
Right, so you're saying you're like the one time they actually like tried to do something with it, they actually got like a funny little interaction out of it. Do that.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I don't even know if it was intentional. It could have been accidental. Because that's how subdued Amy as a character is now. That singular interaction, while I want to believe that's what they were playing into, I don't know if it even was.
Right. Well, and then I mean, and that just doesn't even account for like the dreadful voice acting where every character is just
I played
fucking depressed out of their brains.
I played in Japanese, so I could.
Well,
no offense to the voice actors, but
no, that's fine. Like, it's not like, and Waffles, feel free to push back on me on this. It's not that I think like their inflections were wrong, but they all sound 20 years older than the character should be. Like, I have been very neutral on Roger playing Sonic, but this is like the first game where I'm just like, no, you are this is like the worst voice for the character. Like, I'm glad he feels more comfortable talking and what is closer to his natural register, but he sounds like he actually does sound like a 40, 50-year-old playing a teenager. And it's like, no, this is the worst voice.
The amount of my life draining from my soul when he said, "Let's do it to it," cannot be comparable. Like, he said it because, like, obviously he doesn't know what the fuck he's saying.
I know what that is.
He said, "Let's do it to it," like it was a real thing. Like, oh, this must be like a real thing that Sonic says, and it must mean something. When "Let's do it to it" is just Archie Sonic and Sad AM Sonic just flexing and saying bullshit. That's their whole deal, is that they're like, yeah, let's fucking do it to it. And you're just like, yeah, Sonic, I don't know what that means, but you're hyped about it. Let's juice and jam, you know? Like, there's like an excitability about it. Like, that's the point, is that it's like, it's just Sonic saying random bullshit that he thinks sounds cool. And like, therefore, because he's cool, it like retroactively goes back to being like, oh, that's charming. You know, way past cool, that kind of thing. But Roger, the way he says it is like it's a real thing. I imagine that if they had wrote "Hasta la vista, mista," he would have been like, "Well, let's hasta la vista, mista," and I was like, "Oh God, no, no!"
Like I don't dislike Roger. I love him as Chris Redfield. In fact, he's my favorite Chris Redfield in Resident Evil. And I've heard him in other things like Batman and like Captain America. And he's a great voice actor. But like when I hear him as Sonic, I think of Boom Sonic, which is which is great. He's great as Boom Sonic. But like when I think of Sonic, my mind just goes to everyone else because they just sound more of an energetic character, which is what Sonic is. I really do wish that I know it sounds cruel and mean, but I really do wish that Roger's Sonic just had a redesign to like Boom Sonic
to match the voice.
Yeah, I don't care if it's like chest fur or a new pair of shoes or extra quills like in Boom Sonic. Like give him something to make him feel like Roger's Sonic,
that he's older, if you're going for that, right? Which I don't even, I don't really enjoy that either. But if you're gonna do it, like do it, like actually mold it around the character, and they just won't. Now, to be fair, and this is just kind of like a no-win situation.
Yeah.
In Japan, they've only had one Sonic voice, and he just sounds like Sonic. So it would make no sense for them to remodel Sonic to fit the English voice actor. That would be stupid.
Exactly.
It would just actually be a bad move. So it's just a no-win situation. Roger should not be Sonic as far as I'm concerned.
Which is why I just choose to play on the Japanese, because no disrespect, Roger, I love you as Chris Redfield. You'll forever be my favorite. But when I hear you as Sonic, I just think of Boom Sonic, and I'm like, damn, I wish we got season 3 so we could hear more of you in that role and not let's do it to it, you guys. Hooba Dooba.
Well, guys, let's do it to it. No.
Hooba Dooba.
Right. Well, should we jump to the final two?
Why not? What is there to talk about with these two?
So what there's to talk about is, one, they fixed one thing with Sage, which is that at the end of the original game, I was very confused as to what her alliances were, because obviously she's pro Eggman, but it also seemed like she likes Sonic, and she wouldn't want him to die, right? So it seems so I was like, all right, well, if she comes back, what's the deal? Like, is she gonna want to help Eggman take over the world? Doesn't seem like she's something she would do. But they make it very clear up front where it's like, we can defeat the end and blah 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 and save father, and then Sonic's like, and save the world, and she's like, well, yeah, it's his to conquer. I was like, okay, good, now I know that even if she likes Sonic, she is pro taking over the world. Cool, all right, got it. So that's good. Otherwise, so this is what's so fascinating about this update, is that one of the few things that I could give the original ending, not in execution, but in sort of an execution, it just didn't earn it, is that final shot where Eggman is watching the stars and, whatever the song is for Sage starts playing. And then also he gets up, he reaches out, pulls back, that scene is well directed. And I can see that if someone liked this dynamic, that would be the emotional gut punch that you would buy into it. I was not sold on their relationship, so therefore I thought it was fucking stupid. But the actual execution of it is actually really well directed. The music's really good. It has subtlety. There's no talking, and you can kind of take a lot of the things from it, which is really, really nice. So what's interesting about this finale is that it actually removes not only spectacle, which we'll get to. It removes spectacle. It removes the emotional core of the fight, and it removes the emotional core of Eggman and Sage. So in this version, Sonic doesn't team up with Sage, piloting the mech of the fallen race that he is now taking on their will and taking on the Chaos Emeralds and stuff to stop a thing that destroyed their world in space. It's coming towards us, so we're stopping it from attacking our world. Now, it just shows up, and Sonic just fights him with Eggman, who shoots him out of the cannon, in the same level we've been fighting the whole time in a forest. So they actually removed spectacle from the fight of fighting in space. They removed the emotional core of Sonic fighting for these people and with Sage, who is their AI and remolded and all these different things. They removed the sacrifice. So now it's literally just, there's a bad guy coming. Sonic, we better stop that. And then he does. Even though I don't think the emotional core of the last game was good or well executed, it was there, like in the thesis of what is happening. Like you can understand what they're going for.
Yeah, like in
and
a vacuum.
They actually removed it.
Yeah, like in a vacuum, I could understand why someone would like it. Personally, like you guys, I just laughed when like both things happened. Like when Sage had the sad song, I giggled into oblivion. And
Yeah.
like I hate Eggman so much right now. Like the fact that he took over the world, and in the comics he nearly commit genocide. And the fact that the game here is, oh, Eggman's so sad. He's got a daughter now, but she died. I'm like, fuck Eggman. I'm glad he's depressed. I hope he dies next time. like I was happy.
Yeah, but regardless, they had that in there and they took it away.
100%. Like I could understand why someone would be like, no, the daughter who died. I could understand it. I wouldn't blame them, honestly. I'd get it. But like here, it's like, okay, happy ending. Well, sure.
Yeah, they just team up and fight the end. And then this is the biggest thing. They took away all of the end's dialogue. So now he is just a ball that you're fighting. And some people might say, well, it's to be like dramatic. It's like a force of nature. That idiot has been talking to me the whole game. So you don't get the like force of nature thing. It's been yammering on the whole fucking game. This is his big plan. And so
did they even like? I'm sorry. Did they even add any more lore to the end? Because I know in the original,
because they removed his dialogue. So they removed the lore.
So there's even
actually, it's even a little worse than that, because you can't even go with the force of nature argument, because the whole point of force of nature is that they're constantly like this huge looming presence and constantly having an effect on them without being like a proper threat without being like a proper character the entire time. But they're not. They're more threatened by the corruption, which is just like a byproduct of the ancient weird system. So it's just setting up for a weird boss fight that doesn't have any character behind it.
Imagine if like they took the Majora's Mask angle, where like at the start of the game, maybe the moon is like really far away, but then like with each passing island, you see the same moon.
See it.
Yeah, it gets closer to like the shore of the island, and then when you get to like the final like DLC, you're like, hold up, why is that moon like very close to the grasslands?
Why is the sky all red? You know?
Exactly. Why are we in Berserk now?
Yeah, why are we in Berserk? Why are the enemies have creepy skulls or something?
Like just imagine like all that stuff.
Yeah. And so that's what's insane is that so then let's get to the thing that everyone is gushing about. So we have Supersonic 2, which is just him with different colored eyes and like slightly different aura. Which that's not the thing people worst form. Yeah, but that's not the thing people really care about. What people really care about is Cyber Corruption Sonic, who, one, you don't get to play as.
Nope.
Just stupid.
and two, this is what I mean where like everything else fails it, because now it's not a matter of like any sort of like story or like big grand like world-ending things. Sure, it is world-ending. This thing is apparently going to kill us all, but like there's no like feeling of that in the game. And also, this also means we don't get "I'm With You," which is the song that is when you do the Ikaruga section, which is like this beautiful, like just like it's one of my favorite Sonic songs ever, where it just has this like feeling of like this is the end. We're gonna fight, but we're gonna keep fighting. We're gonna keep going. You know, the hope of the fucking human spirit. Like it has all these emotions to it. We've removed that, so now it's just Kellen Quinn screaming "I'm here" and doing the original boss theme. And now all it is just, holy shit, guys, Sonic but dark teeth and like Sonic X reference, maybe? He shoot out of gun? like that is all that's here. And that's not even like trying to boil it down. No, that is all that is in the value of this form. When you get like Excalibur Sonic or Darkspine Sonic, those things are tied to like the emotions of Sonic's relation with Shara and wanting to protect her. Or Excalibur Sonic is like his relationship with Caliburn and not giving up and needing to have the strength to fight Merlina and then having the power to like calm her down and explain to her that we all die in the end. So like there's all these different things.
Like even though the Darkspine Sonic has a really goofy design once you start like analyzing it, the story context around that form is so awesome. I don't care if it's the progenitor towards the Werehog voice. The scene of Sonic taking in the rings of anger, hate, and rage, and like he's like, I'm gonna kick his ass. Like,
I'm gonna fucking kill a Razor Jin.
Yes, it is so awesome. It is genuinely one of my favorite Sonic scenes. And I hate how lackluster this form is. The one thing I was hoping for was like an actual new form, the blue-eyed Sonic thing. Just really, that's it. So when I got to the scene and I'm like, wait, is he changing blue? Wait, what's going on? And then he changed. And I'm like, oh, we're gonna get like a final third phase? No, that's where it ends.
Yeah.
Nope.
So it is literally just, it looks cool. There's like some cool little cinematics where like Supersonic, like he like does a little fucking JoJo pose and then like punches the guy into the moon. Like those things look cool, but like that's all that's there is just that it looks cool. And I'm sorry. And here's the thing: you can have like rule of cool. You can have things that are just cool to be cool.
Absolutely.
But this is the finale of the game, so like things should be culminating here for the value of this form. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like I need a DLC 4.
Yeah, I need an update 4 to fix this shitty ending.
I need an update for the update that was supposed to fix the game's ending.
Yeah, put it back. Put it back.
Put it back.
Put it back. Get rid of Ikaruga.
Put that thing back where it came from. Or so help me.
Or so help me. It's so weird that you're not fighting in space. You're not doing anything cool. And then they just decide, fuck it. Like Sage comes back to life, so why even do the death? And so she's just standing there being like, well, my plan worked. Go home for cookies, Dad. Yeah, baby. And so they do. And that's the ending. So like
then we get the same exact cutscene where the characters talk about, I'm gonna leave Angel Island. I'm gonna go spread love. I'm gonna become independent.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's my big thing about this ending is I'm like, if you liked the original ending, well, I guess fuck you. And then like the game hates you or something. It got rid of all the stuff. And then 2, what we did get is the bare minimum, which is that it looks cool.
It's also very strange from a meta narrative where the original game ended on a sequel cliffhanger with the foreshadowing of Eggman resurrecting Sage. It's like, what? I guess that just never happened.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny to think about. Like, all right, that's out the window. What was that for then? Why'd they make it in the first place? Yeah. No, it's fun. It's funny, but not for good reasons.
So overall, and then I guess I wanted to land on one more thing, unless you guys have any more points, is that the big symbol, the zap symbol that like the whole game is marketed around, So, when the game released, people were like, "Hey, so what does it mean?" And the game was like, What do you mean? What does it mean? And it's like, no, what is that giant symbol that you marketed the game for? And like the ancients like fly up into the stratosphere and like teleport into it. What is it? What does it mean for the story? And just in an optional little dialogue tree, Sage is just like, that some people think it might be like an afterlife, maybe.
And then they imply that Sage could be like God.
Yeah. And so and it's like, okay, does that have anything to impact the story? No, it's just like a fun little tidbit. And there you go. That's the whole game. The whole game is neat tidbits and neat fan service that makes you go, wow, in my brain checklist, I now know that this is a thing. And I'm sorry, guys, when I play stories or watch them, I like to enjoy them while watching them. I don't like to enjoy them only in my encyclopedia brain where I can go, wow, in Sonic Frontiers, that symbol means this thing. Are they going to do anything with it in the game? Are they going to do anything with it in the story? Nope. But it's fun to think about. And that's kind of what this whole game is, right? Is that it is the game that is projecting, man, it'll be really fun in the future when these characters are well written. It'll be really fun in the future when these characters can play well. It'll be really fun in the future when these gameplay styles actually go somewhere. And it'll be really fun in the future when we make more references and do this whole song and dance with Shadow and Silver and every other Sonic character as we try to reinvent them by reverting them back to how they were, but worse. And that's kind of Sonic Frontiers in a nutshell. So fuck this update. It was terrible. I want my non-existent money back.
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess I will say this. I don't think we actually touched on it, but the new character themes were neat. I like that. We haven't had those in a while.
Yep, the music was good.
But yeah, no, across the board, it's just a one big steaming pile of disappointment. I'm glad I told Lav, don't play the game. I'm glad he just watched the cutscenes instead. And I genuinely, like I said at the start, I was excited to play this DLC update. Because again, I cried tears of joy after how good Sonic played in Update 2. So like naturally, I'm like, okay, well, I have hope now. Like maybe this won't be so bad. And I
Big
did.
mistake.
I like I was getting excited. I was even like, Lav, okay, we're gonna do this thing with Waffle soon. Make sure you get the spin dash unlocked so we can cover all our bases and talk about as much as we can. And I just like, Lav, don't play this. I just changed my mind. Like, nah, this isn't worth it. I don't think I know he would not have enjoyed any of it, and like I didn't enjoy a lot of it, most of it. It's genuinely just a big disappointment across the board.
Yeah. So for myself, I haven't seen too many people talk about the story. For the most part, it's just been people either ripping into how much of a pain in the ass it is to play the damn thing, or people coping and trying to say that it's
Guys, the
how much
ending
of a
is
pain in the
so
ass it is.
raw and awesome and cool. Look at the super form the new one. It's so good. I mean, to be fair, like to each their own, I guess. But like, does it really make up for all of the bad? Like, come on,
No.
guys, can you be a bit honest? Like, I know it's awesome in a vacuum, but like, that's like 2% of the DLC. Yeah.
Okay, so I think you guys covered most of what we need to talk about with the gameplay, but I want to focus for my final thoughts, not just talking about the story, but I want to talk to Flynn in particular. So, because I know, because he's made a couple comments like he's annoyed with how many people are like super negative on YouTube about him and stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty sure I'm like the only person who does talk about him on a regular basis, but if he does somehow ever gets like linked to this or comes across at some point, I want to try saying this. I do admire how much he does try staying to this franchise and how much and I do think he does genuinely care about not only making this franchise as good as possible, but trying to appease fans. But the problem is with how he does it, and I don't say this to be mean, I say this to be as honest as I can be. The way he does it ultimately makes him kind of a hack. Not because he mainly because he only seems to put stuff out there or write stuff just to appease people, not because he actually has some type of creative ambition or something he's trying to go for. Because the consistent thing he's had in most of his work, especially in Sonic, is about trying to patch stuff, about trying to get things to be in a way that keeps the quote unquote canon consistent, trying to write things in a way to appease fans and trying to alleviate them of the worries that they have for certain characters. And while that's amendable to a certain extent, that does mean that his scripts are never going to be about actually trying to have a coherent story, exploring particular ideas, concepts, and themes that he ultimately wants to go for. I'm not expecting Persona 5. I'm just expecting I'm expecting Pokemon. I'm expecting like as underwritten as a lot of Pokemon games are, and they're usually at least somewhat consistent around either exploring particular themes, handling characters arcs from beginning to end, and usually trying to make sure that all ties around the particular journey and the mechanics that the story is ultimately going for, especially when it comes to Sun and Moon, even Sword and Shield to a certain extent, and especially Scarlet and Violet. But here, when it comes to both the main game as well as when it comes to this, it's just a lot of surface details that are just kind of scattered around that doesn't really have any coherent theme around it other than just, hey, we'll be good next time, maybe. That's not a story. That's the reason why I would also say that the script is just the same thing as a tech demo. It's not about actually trying to deliver on particular ideas and trying to show that trying to give your audience something to think about. It's just about just showing like, hey, we're capable of maybe doing something good in the future. We'll see. And that's not something we should be expecting from one of the major releases, especially from a franchise that's not going to be able to put out games anywhere near as often as Game Freak does with Pokemon. So if he does want to stay on this franchise and continues to go for it and wants to be respected beyond just being a Sonic writer, he needs to actually come up with something that he wants a story that's actually meant to be focused on a coherent conflict that is actually present not just some vague planet ball that doesn't come into like the last 10 minutes. We need to actually have character arcs that are actually meant to be building on and progressing the characters going forward, not just making references to past shit and just going, they might be good later, and doing the bare minimum when it comes to showing off what their personalities are. And worse, stop relying on just relying on telling the audience what they're supposed to be expecting. Like, I've gotten in multiple arguments with people when they try saying the whole separation of the four at the end is meant to be like this huge thing. It's like, yes, they're going to go off and do their own things, except they've never been a team. We're not dealing with the Straw Hats. We're dealing with the Greendale Seven. We're not even dealing with fucking Ash, Misty, and Brock. These four are friends. I believe that, but there's never been any type of game since, at best, Sonic Heroes, maybe Sonic Riders, where they've been established that they're always around each other, always been like a ride or die team with each other. They're just friends that sometimes end up meeting up with each other and hanging out, which is fine, but you don't get to do the whole ending about like trying to make this whole thing of, yes, we're going off and doing our own thing, when they've always been doing that. So I guess the simpler way to say this, and I encourage both Derp and Waffles to maybe come up, if there's a nice way to say this, please tell me what that is. Get some substance behind your writing and actually figure out what you want to say, and actually like put that in your scripts, not just rely on fan services and just leaning in and just mentioning certain things that are supposed to be deep without doing anything to back it up. Like, is there a nice way to put that?
Basically, you're just saying, like, just have it, put some ambition in it, put your back into it, please. Stop just relying on the bare minimum to please fans, which, I mean, the bare minimum for a lot of fan bases is, callbacks, or, just bringing up certain things over and over again, calling back to when things were better or whatever. Instead, be a bit more bold, try to go for something. Even if it ends up being shit, at least that's something more to talk about than just placating fans. And again, like what I'll always say is that Flynn was not always the Sonic darling. When he was on Archie, when he came into that, people ripped into him all the time because he was dealing with their characters, with things that they really cared about. And so he had to work accordingly. He had a fan base that would question him about literally fucking everything, because they were people who cared about Archie Sonic as much as he did. They wanted to know where all these characters were going to go. They wanted to know how all these things were working. So he was constantly pushed to come up with either answer these things and come up with interesting stories for them. And Archie was a world where you could do that. It was a world that wanted to be a character drama, intentionally or otherwise. But as he's gotten more into, IDW and the games, where it's very much less so a character drama or something like that, it's just an adventure story. We'll try to lean more into the fun side of these characters. Try to lean more into having funny character interactions, which was something he used to be really, really good at. A lot of my favorite arcs of his, especially in Reboot, are ones where the characters are just bouncing off of each other and having some fun banter and stuff, or just doing things like that. So to me, that's where I definitely just want to see him improve. Is just actually write in a way that isn't just giving the fans what they want. Write something that you want to see. And if all you want to see is just callbacks, then I really would question what your motivation and enjoyment of the series even is anymore. Because we're kind of a long way off even from Reboot, from the way he used to write. So yeah, that's all I got for that.
Yeah, I'm of the same mindset. Shoot for ambition, make sure there's more nuance, and try to be more creative and original with what you want to do.
And just to reiterate, just to cover this, even if he's ambitious, that doesn't mean he's going to be successful.
Oh yes, that doesn't mean it's going to be good. But I'm
going to have way more respect for him as a writer if he tries to be ambitious and fucks up, versus just let's just keep making callbacks and references over and over again.
Yeah, it's why a lot of people
are not a problem.
And to clarify, we've talked about IDW a lot and how it has these crazy ideas that it just kind of falls flat on. That I don't count as ambition, because a lot of the ways that Flynn tackles Sonic's character journey does not feel like he's going for a point, because he never reaches the point. It's always deflect. Yes. So just to be clear for anyone who's watch these other videos, do not see that, because that is the craziest part of IDW Sonic, is the whole moral philosophy thing. I do not see that as ambition. I see that as Flynn going fuck. Oh wait, shit. Trying to cover up for some implications of the character. So again, when we're saying ambition, we're not saying well, you hated when he did ambition in IDW. I do not think that is ambition.
Ambition is why Sonic 06, like over a decade later, is still talked about because it shoots for the moon, and though it fucks up a lot of details, it's still remembered both fondly and unfondly by a lot of people for what it tried to accomplish.
And I would say the worst thing you can be is unmemorable or boring.
It's why not really that many years later, a lot of people just kind of forget that Lost World exists sometimes, because while the game is like pretty bad, it's like it's not offensively like bad like the other games can be.
Yeah, and so I think the worst thing you could be boring. So, and I feel like that's exactly. A lot of, regardless of any criticism I have of what he is trying to go here to do, I do just think inherently the ideas he's going for are just boring ones. They're just very simple, or not even simple, but they're just very boring. There's just references, callbacks, trying to get the characters back where we started. Again, having no say in where this is going to go anyway. So just kind of going like, yeah, I mean, I hope someone picks up the idea of Tails being a good character later. I mean, so that's what I mean when I say ambition, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. What about you guys?
Same. I covered everything.
I'm still waiting. Nearly a year later, I'm still wondering, hey, Flynn, I know you said no in Smile, and I know you said that the character isn't abandoned, but like, where's the magenta haired girl we saw in the character out?
Oh yeah.
Where's the human?
I do want to know. Yeah, I am interested to see where that all goes.
We'll find out in 5 years, Derp.
Yay!
All right. Well, see you guys in 5 years on our next episode of.
Next episode. I have a couple ideas what we're going to do next, but we're probably not going to be touching Sonic for. Well, I say that, but we'll see how. IDW.
You guys excited for IDW?
We might come back around to that later, but
yeah, when you free me from the dungeon, when you forcing me to read those comics.
For the record, I am not forcing you to read all the comics. At most, it's just an arc, but we'll see how that when we get there. But we can go ahead and end this here for now. So I'd like to thank you guys both for showing up today. And would you guys like to plug your socials?
Oh, yeah. So I'm Ianwaffles. You can find me on my YouTube channel by the same name, and same with Twitter. And that's it for me.
Yeah,
I'm DerpADuh. You can find me on YouTube at DerpADuh, and on Twitter over at 2DerpADuh.
Links will be in the description down below. Also, definitely go check out both of them, especially DerpADuh, who just released another YouTube short and another video of a project he was working on a little while ago. So yeah, go check out their channels, guys. All right. Okay. Thank you guys both so much, and I'll talk to you guys later. See you guys on the next episode of Lavicast.
Peace.
See ya.